SciTech is headquartered in Brno, Czech Republic, the birthplace of Gregor Mendel and a global hub for electron microscopy. Situated in the heart of Europe with an excellent quality of living, Brno is more affordable than other EU cities, allowing for a comfortable way of life in a city that ranks among the best and safest in the world. Moreover, Brno is known as the European Silicon Valley. There are universities and a competitive business environment with hundreds of R&D companies, thousands of people employed in science, and millions of euros spent on research each year. That's why more than 1,400 employees from roughly 45 countries do science at SciTech. Here, they have the power to make our world a safer, more efficient, and more sustainable place to live.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first edition of the RICAIP project seminar. Today we are focusing on smart city. 3 presentations will show you how the South Moravian region and the cities of Brno and Židlochovice deal with the challenge of smart living. Before we dive into the topic, I will add some more information about why we are here. We have an ambition to establish a platform that will bring various speakers here to Brno to speak about topics such as personal development and labor market and all the topics that are associated with science and its role in our society. Where else shall we create such platform than in Brno, a place that has become an innovation and research hub? Brno boasts of a lively collaborative ecosystem interconnecting public, private, and academic sectors. Brno offers functioning support of innovative businesses and commercial use of research and development. Its strategic position right in the heart of Europe, right next to source of graduates that speak foreign languages, is popular not only with Czechs, but also with global companies and experts. The Czech Republic is the 10th most popular country for experts. This makes Brno a good place to achieve both global success and reach high quality of life at reasonable prices. And last but not least, Brno is also a place where you can meet amazing and exciting people. And today's event is an example of that. And it's not just about today. In months to come, we will meet some speakers that will talk about environment, sustainability, Society 4.0. We would also like to raise awareness towards topics such as Industry 4.0, robotics, artificial intelligence, and experimental factory of the future, which are topics associated with the RICAIP project. We are excited that we can meet together here in person, but to be cautious enough, please be sure that you have your face mask put on to make this event safe for everybody. Today we are presenting you the first speakers. If you have any question or comment, you can raise your hand and I will pass you a microphone so everybody can hear you. And by everybody I mean not only people in this room, but also people that are connected online to be with us today. Attendees online, if you have a comment, you can use the box under the live stream. I will check it regularly and I will ask for you. There will be a space for Q&A after each of the presentations, if we are not running out of time, of course. So thank you very much for cooperation. We hope you are going to enjoy both the presentations and the discussions. And let's start. The RICAIP project was mentioned a few times, and I think it would be very nice to know more about what it really is. So I think that there is no better person to introduce us to RICAIP project than Professor Pavel Václavek, the coordinator of the RICAIP project at Czech BUT.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, once again. Thanks for coming, even when we have to do it in a little bit more complicated way. I will tell a couple of words about the RICAIP project and the context of the whole project. So I guess that many of you already somewhere met keyword Industry 4.0. So it's a very popular keyword today. We are, let's say, in the middle of fourth industrial revolution. In past, we had already 3 of them, and now we are approaching this times when it is expected that everything will be automated, autonomous, networked, and so on. Maybe I wouldn't call it revolution, it is more evolution. So it is not expected that everything will be changed from scratch, but in past there were many different technologies developed, and now it's time to introduce them really to industry for mass use and to really make some change in our lives. If we look to the key components of Industry 4.0, we can see things like automation, big data processing, processing of data in clouds, autonomous systems, IoT, so networks of many small devices which can interact each with other and also with environment. And very important part is also some data management. So data is the center point of whole concept of Industry 4.0, data, knowledge, information. Now I will show a brief video describing what is RICAIP about. Oh no, it's on next slide, sorry. Or missing even, it was removed, I don't know. So here, what we are doing in RICAIP is to prepare new infrastructure for testing, research and testing of Industry 4.0 technologies. In fact, we are building kind of smart factory here at CETEC, which will be available for testing of new technologies in the field of 3D printing, robotics, industrial drives, diagnostics of systems, and many others. It is joint project of CETEC, of Czech at CTU in Prague, and two institutes from Germany. The first one is German Institute for Artificial Intelligence, and the second one is German Center for Mechatronic Systems. And these two German institutes are like our mentors. So the aim of the project is to transfer knowledge from Germany, from their already running testbeds to here, to Czech Republic. And now the promised video.
Of Industry 4.0 means production is becoming increasingly automated and digitalized. Although companies often have their own proprietary solutions, they're typically not standardized, so manufacturing continues to take place in independent and unconnected units of various size. Two Czech and two German research institutes have joined forces in the creation of a project for new intelligent, secure, and sophisticated solutions for distributed manufacturing in the Industry 4.0 environment. The collective effort led to the establishment of RICAIP, the Research and Innovation Center on Advanced Industrial Production. RICAIP primarily focuses on developing an entirely new concept of multi-site production in which each machine has a digital twin that reflects its characteristics and communicates with other digital twins. Digital twins aren't used only for individual machines. Entire manufacturing units and other entities involved in production can have them too. This makes it possible to simulate the entire production process and reciprocal communication, thus significantly accelerating production preparation while eliminating the occurrence of errors. Thanks to artificial intelligence, manufacturing units are able to share knowledge with one another, and the system can optimize production and respond quickly to constantly changing environments. Moreover, the combination of virtual reality and augmented reality allows additional virtual devices to be introduced to the production process and tested prior to their physical implementation in shop floor. Likewise, potential new suppliers can enter the process, as well as the customer, who can configure the parameters of the required product and make other changes if necessary, even at the last minute. These are the principles upon which future automated multi-site production networks will be built, and upon which they will accelerate the implementation of new manufacturing processes, reduce production costs, and make it easier for companies to enter the market and value chains. Production as a service and shared resources. This is the future of industrial manufacturing.
Okay, so this is what is RICAIP about, and what are we going to do as a research? It was already briefly mentioned in the video, but these are mainly these topics. The bold one are those which will be solved directly here in SATEC. So we are going to deal with interaction between humans, machines, robots, with virtual sensors, distributed production systems, and also topics from artificial intelligence, mostly multi-agent systems. We will do a lot of development in sensors and actuators for industrial production systems, control systems for distributed production, and also diagnostics and predictive maintenance. And of course, we are a university, so education activities are expected in this context. Many of these topics are related to AI, which is also quite popular topic today. And one of the main aims of the project is to bring really AI to the life. Today we have a lot of AI activities on, let's say, academic level, but not so much is really running in a production environment in industry. This is a picture from yesterday from our testbed. So we are still under construction to be open, hopefully spring 2022. And as you can see already, there is quite a lot of equipment installed. I will not now talk about all the items. So if somebody is interested in concrete equipment, we can discuss this later. And why we need this testbed? In fact, primary reason is that we need environment for experiments in our projects. But also, this will be environment for education and training, not only of our students, but also of employees, for example, from SMEs, because they really need some help to introduce Industry 4.0 to their companies. It will be also testing environment for companies, both for, let's say, test before invest purposes. If some SME will want to test some kind of equipment, if it makes sense to purchase some equipment for their production line. And for innovative or technology-oriented SMEs, this will be kind of playground to test their new sensors, control systems, new products, if it makes sense to continue with them for the market. And also we expect to do here some small series experimental production and to use this testbed as a demonstration showroom. It's not a nice word, but really it will be possible to see some state-of-the-art equipment here. Maybe you can ask how this series of seminars of, let's say, soft topics is related to RICAIP. But it's quite clear. Digital transformation is not about technological change. It's about impact on society, education, many related fields. So Industry 4.0 is closely related to logistics, smart mobility, smart cities, and all these concepts. And especially impacts on society will be in focus of the coming seminars in this series. So thanks for attention. If there are some questions.
So thank you very much for introduction.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask the next speaker to get ready. So if you prefer the hand microphone, you can use it. If you would like to have the same microphone, then please go to backstage and our colleagues will prepare you. It's not easy decision.
Is it presenter?
There's a presenter, but we will need to put this out. And thank you very much. Okay, and before our next speaker will come back here, I will tell some few details about what he is going to talk about. Well, as was mentioned, the South Moravian region has been supporting innovation for nearly 2 decades. And thanks to strategic approach, the region boasts of strong science and innovative entrepreneurship. But now it's time to focus on innovations in public sector. Long-term needs of the region ask solutions to environmental issues, as well as to health and social services. There is a plan that will deal with this challenge. And the plan will be presented by Jiří Nantl, the Deputy Governor of the South Moravian region, responsible for Smart Region. And he is about to come, and he is ready now. So applause for Jiří Nantl. And clicker for you.
Yeah, thank you very much for introduction, even in my absence for a while. Congratulations also to BUT, Stakeholder BUT, and Professor Václavek on RICAIP. I think it's very important that also institutions from our region participate in important projects like this. That's what we need to have always in South Moravia, a few flagship projects that are always a challenge. I know that very well from my own experience, but that's a risk that's necessary to take if we want to move our institutions, but also the region forward. And moving the region forward is also an issue I'm going a bit to speak now about. I'm an elected politician. That's the role I speak from here, so don't expect from me to go in on very technical details. Our job as elected politicians is to say what we believe is important for our voters in the end. In politics, it doesn't really matter how clever you are or how competent you are, or even sometimes what results you have, but what's the impression. So that's sometimes demotivating. But this is also a risky project because we say we want to prepare a ground for generational shift of the region in a similar way which we have done 20 years ago with the regional innovation strategy. I will also speak a bit about problems in the region, also maybe in connection with the project. So, because I assume most of you come from an academic environment, I thought it would be good to give you a bit of snapshot of the region and its complexity, which is enormous. So South Moravia has 1.2, maybe 3 by the most recent count, million inhabitants. So it's basically the size of Estonia. There are several EU member states that have less inhabitants. That's South Moravia. We have 672 municipalities. That's quite a lot. In Czech Republic, we generally have quite a lot of municipalities, many of them small. Next to France, we are the country in the European Union with the biggest number of small municipalities. So basically every village has its mayor, which is nice for that's what the people prefer. They want to have the ownership of local affairs, but it also means it's very difficult to implement ambitious projects also for the municipalities itself because they are small, they are also financially weak in many cases, in case of the small villages in particular. So they basically have a budget, they do the waste management, they ensure there's light in night on the street, and that's it. So that's one of the general weaknesses of the Czech public administration system, that we have too many small municipalities that have very limited ability to do things. Of course, then there is city of Brno, I'll speak a bit about it. So in this region, 672 municipalities. We have 21, let's say, administrative districts administered always by a town. We have then, in general, 50 cities and 40 towns and 72 microregions. So microregion is something that goes bottom up. So municipalities agree, in this area we want to collaborate. And the administrative districts, that's top down, so that they ensure that the public administration is being done in an area. And then we have the city of Brno and its metropolitan area, which is something that's important for some types of EU funding and other things. And the city of Brno is a very heavyweight in the region. So basically with its metropolitan area, it's maybe a slight majority of inhabitants of the region. So we can also picture that. We can also picture it like this. So you see the city of Brno and the metropolitan area that covers half of the region's area, a slight majority of its inhabitants. There are very important functional connections, so I would say daily life in some independent towns that are beyond the boundary of the city of Brno does not make sense and cannot be, in fact, independently organized from the city of Brno. If you go to Modřice, for instance, you go there by Brno public transport. So for a sustainable and strategic development of this region, I've always felt it's very important to have strategically the regional government and the city of Brno on board together. Unless we strategically agree on things, we cannot do very much, because of course, even if city of Brno does things within its metropolitan area, it does not have really an impact in the overall region, and we as the regional government cannot do that alone. We also have very many, I mean, the violet lines, they delimitate the administrative districts. So you then also see that especially in case of Znojmo administrative district, it's like a sub-region in itself. So we have very important differences within the region. I will speak about that a bit also more. RICAIP demonstrates it, many other things demonstrate the fact that we have SATEC. I'm in conflict of interest still, so I won't speak about that, but we have become, as a South Moravia region, a leader in innovation economy. I think it's now widely recognized, it's very visible. Innovation economy, let's put a bit of note on that. Innovation economy a bit stands in contrast with what is being called as foundational economy, that can be also named as non-innovative economy, so you go to a hairdresser or something like that. The note I want to make that as a regional government, we now feel that the region needs also to address in a more systemic way this type of foundational economy. So we want to have an integrated economic development strategy, because also in some part of the region, you never get very many innovative companies to very remote areas, or it's very difficult. But in innovation economy, we have become a leader. It can be demonstrated on figures, so we have a quite high, by international standards even, a figure of investments that go into R&D. About, if I'm not wrong, I'm always very bad at remembering figures, but if I'm not wrong, 1.8% point of that is from private investments, which is remarkable and shows there is a public sector in reality, also demonstrated by the number of companies that is located in the region and does its own R&D here. I think the most known case is electron microscopy, which is very large produce, but also R&D. We spend here in the region, beyond our weight by number of inhabitants, a share of total R&D investments, and we have very big and important and strong academic base. The role of academic sector, also let's make a note, is often misunderstood by colleagues, politicians, that it's about projects that lead to direct innovations and products. I think it's not about that. It's most important in my experience as a source of expertise. So the fact that we have 6 universities and, again, if I'm not wrong, about 15 institutes of Academy of Sciences here in Brno and in the region, some are also out of Brno, and several other research institutions, means that we have very large expertise in a wide range of areas, which can be used, which is being used for the innovation economy that has its results, and what I'm going to speak about today is we want to use it to modernize public sector as well. And we have the, I could even say, legacy of the smart specialization strategy, the regional innovation strategy, which has been established in 2001, and then GIC, which stands just next door, has been founded. That's a bit similar and inspirational story. It also gives us credibility. So I mean, if we say we want to move the region forward in quality of public services, no one will really take it as a joke, and it's also a commitment. Now to the proper English word is challenges, in Czech we would say problems. In this region, we face a number of challenges that are written in our strategies or have popped up in the election campaign, which for us also serves as a source of feedback. Let's start with maybe one which is not mentioned there, but it's maybe you can grasp it from the map I showed. The region, in fact, lacks a single regional identity. There is not a single South Moravian regional identity. That may surprise some of you. It has surprised me. That was my strongest experience from the campaign. It's very difficult to talk to people from Boskovice about some like region-wide needs, because the need is always local, and they have in fact few things in common with people from Znojmo, which is very far away, and let's speak about public hard infrastructure is also difficult to get there. So that's one overarching problem. But let's go to what I have noted: aging population. The population in South Moravia is aging very fast, fastest in the Czech Republic. So that means we will have high demand for care about elderly people. And that comes at a time when biomedicine and new technologies, also digital technologies, enable transformation of healthcare, also social care. So what is almost a constant issue on regional government meetings is the cost of hospitals. We have very wide hospital network, which is also very expensive. Some hospitals are operated independently by cities. It becomes unbearable for them. There's demand for the elderly people homes. And this is something that will need solutions. Environmental concerns and climate change, it concerns maybe sometimes on abstract level people in urban areas. It concerns people in the countryside, because still we have been traditionally agriculture region. We still have agriculture as an important sector, also wine production and so on. So environmental concerns and climate change. We have very big socioeconomic differences in the region. So in terms of socioeconomic parameters, Brno is something like small Prague, which can be observed, for instance, maybe most visible to people in terms of prices of flats. But we also have in the region 6 areas that meet the qualification criteria for being considered a socially excluded area. So very poor, it's also called internal periphery. So, and that's within a range of 40 kilometers away. So the socioeconomic differences are very big problem. It's also part of the reason why we increasingly speak at the regional government about the need to focus also more on the foundational economy, the classical types of enterprises, in addition to innovation economy, which has very uplifted Brno and the metropolitan area, but not that much maybe the region as a whole. The public infrastructure, very shabby. We also have a very big network of roads, which in the countryside, in most areas, can count among the worst in this country. We have about 400 bridges. About half of them is in a state that requires improvement. Some of them, you experience it when you travel, so sometimes it has to be closed. And the railway system is not totally developed, so we have, especially to Znojmo, which is the second biggest city in the region. That's the second biggest city in the region. Also, not everyone always knows that. We lack electrified and speedy train. So it's easy to get from Znojmo. You can be in 50 minutes in Wien, but it takes almost 2 hours to Brno, which is unacceptable within one region. The cost of public transportation subsidies, which are paid by us as regional government, are rising very high. It's the biggest item is about 1/2 of the regional government budget is a subsidy we give to trains and buses. And it keeps rising. I mean, we cannot also end up as a regional government that we pay all money so that people can travel, which is important, but they also need schools, hospitals, and other things. And the region is structurally underfinanced. So if you're from South Moravia, on your head, we get from the nationally shared tax results 1/2 of the figure that goes to South Bohemia, for instance. Because that's written in a law which was made 20 years ago. It was meant to uplift the region, the then newly set up regions, which weren't seat of the old regions. So South Moravia with Brno as the old regional capital was considered, you have some things, they need to build up Vysočina region or other regions. So the result now, 20 years forward, is that one South Moravian gets 1/2 of a South Bohemian gets. And that's a very big problem. So that goes to why we need smart solution, because we have limited resources. Implementing smart solution, it's not very different in politics than in business. So also companies, they want to save and have bigger profits. In public administration, it's not about the profit, but it's about providing the most service with the resources that you have. So the principles that are behind what we are trying to do with a smart region is doing more and better with limited resources. I, for instance, don't really expect that it will be easy within a decade change the formula of how we distribute taxes. We want to increase involvement of what I would call unconventional resources for the regional governments. So regional governments in the Czech Republic are used to have their own income from the shared taxes and then use maybe some national government grants. Then also EU grants, but we have never, and no region in the Czech Republic has yet done that. We have never worked very hard on going into competitive EU programs, such as RICAIP, succeeding universities do that, but regional governments don't. So we want to change it. We want to innovate both solution of processes. The regional innovation strategy speaks about Brno region, which is the shared trademark as a living lab. So I'll also speak later about that. What's also dear to our coalition is that we want to foster civic and community involvement, also communication with municipalities. And that's this. I mean, we need to support the theory of public administration says that modern governance is about network government. So it's not about a top-down or this approach, but you need agreement of various layers. And I feel that very many things would improve in this region if we had better and more systemic communication with municipalities. But there are very many in the end. So we need the first the administrative districts, micro-regions, and the umbrella organizations. That's a policy statement in the coalition agreement, and then in our program declaration, the statement of policy priorities, we say we shall support innovations in public sector through collaboration among the self-governments, academic institutions, NGOs, and businesses, namely by means of using projects of applied research and innovation. So here we want to employ what I called unconventional resources. We also discussed with Věra Jourová, the Vice President of the European Commission, that this is exactly what she would advise the regional governments to do in general in the Czech Republic, because in the next period, not the one that's to start now, but the next period, Czech Republic, with a few exceptions, will be a net contributor, and most regions will even be ineligible for most types of structural type funding. So we also need, for that reason, to do that shift and have the region ready for using resources that are interesting, enable big ambition project, but also very competitive. So in May, we had a high-level meeting with representatives of these institutions, so we knew that we want and need to get into one table, the region, the city of Brno, then representatives of various umbrella organizations of the municipalities. That's the, I say it in Czech, Svaz měst a obcí, Svaz místních samospráv, and Svaz obcí a měst, Jižní Moravy. Universities, because it would be a shame not to use and not to directly involve and give them seat at the table the academic institutions that are very strong here, GIC and NGO representatives through the Nadace Partnerství, which is also sort of an umbrella. So that's also for the first time that we had this type of discussion, an NGO sector directly represented. And we agreed very broadly on a mandate to work, which is what's going on now. So we agreed that this is what we want to do in this group of actors, and that's very important. That's already very important. We also agreed that we want to start working on setting up basically a sister organization to GIC. There was discussion, sometimes journalists ask, why not GIC? The reason is the GIC is profiled and well established in working with businesses. And we feel, so the GIC management felt it would too disturb the institutional mission, which is something I can understand because I know from my civic employment that focusing on institutional mission and keeping some boundaries is very important. It would be easier perhaps to make up a new division of GIC, but no one, not even them, would really think in the long term this would make us stronger. And we agreed on thematic priorities. So this is where we think in the beginning the work should be focused. It's climate change, environment, and energy. There are already also in both areas I will speak about also our pilot projects. So now in energy, the region is starting a slight transformation of energy management of its organization. In the environmental part, we have recently signed up a memorandum with the region Vysočina about collaboration between our water management systems, which can also then have some solutions implemented. And the other priority is innovation in public services, by which we mean mainly healthcare and social services. The ambition generally will be to prepare ground through smart solutions to enable more home care for sick people, for elderly people, and in the longer term then decrease the need to have a very wide network of stationary facilities. Someone might ask, no one has asked yet, which is surprising, but someone might ask why not hard infrastructure and transport. The reason is we think first, this reflects the priorities of the people who were elected and what they said in campaign and so on. That's also important. But also we gave it a thought, and we think it would be too expensive. So we think in digitization of healthcare and social services, we can have leaner solutions with bigger impact than we say we want to do something about roads in all the region. We have very big network of roads, I mean bigger than some other regions, less funding. So we thought this is too difficult task for us to make a commitment that here we want to make the progress. So now we are in the stage of stakeholder consultation. So a colleague who works on that goes individually to visit representatives of various institutions and people who know about that and gives with them a sort of survey. And a progress report will be, and proposals for next steps will be within a month or two. So that also will be publicly known. And we now work on the organizational part. Petr Chládek, who is director of GIC, always asks me, what do you want to, and that's a very good question, very useful for politicians, because we sometimes, we are pressed to say everything will be different in 4 years, which won't. So Petr always asks, what do you want to be the achievement in 4 years? And then when he presses me too hard, I say, if we set up the agency, it would be enough. In a way, that would be true, because having a single institution which accumulates the expertise and can coordinate and advise is the basis. So we need to have the structure that will be home for all these initiatives, so as GIC was until it get any results. There are generally in the world, there are two models how to do that. One is, that's the one which will probably be used here. So something really like GIC, which accumulates expertise, connects the actors, gives policy advice, designs the biggest projects, but then leaves the implementation of these projects to other actors, in most cases, maybe not always. The other one, but that's used in really something that's more in metropolitan area, is the integrated territorial planning, which then goes from the plan itself to the smart solutions. But we don't think this could be implemented in a region as complex as South Moravia. What are three important aspects that we want to focus on is we have policy discussion in the regional government that it would be good to incorporate already from the beginning a citizen involvement. So have solutions that would enable us to get a direct feedback from citizens as customers of the regional government about what they would need or wished. We want to apply an approach which is now being called in the world the public plural partnership, that's all by the NGOs. So GIC works on public-private. Here we want to work on public plural basis and incorporate very heavily the non-governmental sector, also citizens as customers. And we want to offer South Moravia as a living lab for companies also to test various solutions. And that's basically maybe it. So it's a work in progress. I mean, we have some priorities which are determined by our policy, other things, but we are also ready to listen. I put this picture, I wanted to have there some picture, I couldn't find any else from the meeting that took place in May. So I took this one, and so we are listening, because untypical for politicians maybe. And what's important to note, we want to have the progress. So in mid-2021, we would like to have a formal agreement and formal setting up of the agency. It's also very important really to have then further progress, because we need a few people who will work on it on a technical basis at a daily level. That's our weakness now, because we have external consultant for that as a support from GIC. I work on that politically, but it needs a founding director of the agency and a few people who then sit on that and then make the progress. And what's important, we really need to, this is a very big aspiration. So I would really suggest that we draw the inspiration from when the first regional innovation strategy was adopted and then GIC found it. What they basically did, they wrote a strategy, which was very complex, and then the first director of GIC, Jirka Hudeček, took 10% of it and he really did it. And the lesson is this, the tasks are very big and we cannot do everything in 4 years or maybe within a decade, so it's really generational work. What is important is to set up a structure. By that I don't mean only the agency, but a whole network and level of understanding and awareness within the region, also outside the region, get a bit of fame for that. And have, from my perspective, I would say by the end of our current mandate, a few success stories. So a few things that really then implement a few projects that will show it can be done, and then other people will get on board and say we can trust on this. So that's realistic, because we have already, I noted that we have signed up the memorandum with Vysočina on water management systems. We have 2 days ago signed up with 19 other institutions, including City of Brno, a memorandum on digitization of medicine, which I think will become one of the platforms for this agency. So we also can build up on things that are happening. And if we make it a system, then I think the region will make a progress in gradual steps as always. So that's maybe what I can say about it now. If you will have any suggestions, you can also mail me. Any inspiration thing is welcome. I was very encouraged. There's Honza Barta, but he maybe now left. I mean, Honza Barta visited me and we discussed also the agency, which sometimes I have the questions to myself, is it really useful? Won't it be formal also? And he said it would be very useful because we in the smaller municipalities, we need someone even to advise. So even when we know what we would like to do, we want to have someone who will connect the dots and will give advice, bring maybe other partners on board. So I'm from these talks, which I from time to time have, I'm mostly inspired and encouraged that this thing makes sense. So thank you very much, and thank you very much.
We have 5 minutes left for questions, so if you have any question, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask. And there is a question, so please wait a minute for a microphone. And speak to microphones so people that are offline can hear you as well.
I'd like to ask if there is another region in the country that is thinking or setting up smart regional agency or something like that in their own region.
Not the smart. There are some initiatives, but not as complex one. In the Pilsen region, they do more on a city basis. They have some collaborations. There's a Czech smart cities cluster that tries to connect these initiatives, but what has been happening in the Czech Republic so fast that are mainly, and that has also been done here in the region, are particular initiatives. So someone said we will focus on some individual smart solution, but I'm not aware of any region which will really have a system in that. But that's of course always dependent on political configuration. So we had one discussion. I mean, one of the concerns and advice from GIC is that the agency needs to be sufficiently independent so that it can really pursue long-term projects, which I think would be ensured also by the presence of universities in the founding structure. So we want to do that really as a sister agency. But in the end, because then the main customers will be in the end the region and the city of Brno, and they will also contribute on the basis of contract to projects they will want to have implemented. And that will depend on what people will sit in their governing boards. So we cannot really insulate it. So if there are then people are elected who want to have smart benches on streets with solar chargers, so that they will have to implement this. In politics, you have to deliver what's promised to voters and what's voted on by the council.
You spoke about Czech regions.
In that, GIC is very fortunate because beside the ambition, here it will be more complex because with GIC they work on academic business maybe and business development, and that's not in innovative economy, and that's not an area where most people in regional government have an expertise or even interest. So they may know, okay, this is important for the region and it's the level where it ends, but they don't tend to involve too heavily into what's in the detail. Here I think it will be different because then all mayors will have an opinion like what could be the public services in their town. So this will be much more complex exercise, less independent from the day-to-day politics, and it will be then more demanding on coordination.
I will follow up on Tomáš's question.
Sure.
You talked about Czech regions, but is there also any agency abroad that would have the experience with setting up all the things that
I
you talked
think
about?
the closest example, but it's example to a point, is the Vienna Urban Planning Institute. But it's up to a point because that's Vienna. It's more city, even though it's a Bundesland in the Austrian system, but it's a city, and that makes it very different. In general, all the debate about the concept of smart region, that's really something a bit different than smart city, because in city or smart town you have the solutions confined to an area which is comparatively small and compact. Here it's more difficult. So it calls for different solutions. Therefore, we also mostly avoided the hard infrastructure, which very often is the core of solutions at the local level. Because I mean, if they do, Honza Barta will speak about wonderful things they do in Žilochovice. But that's a very small town with one of the smallest areas among our municipalities. It's a very small municipality. So they can do different things than you can do in maybe Znojmo or then in South Moravia region. The area you serve is and density of population and so on is very, very important factor you have to consider. So there are agencies, we draw examples, we also in the governance, I mean, we studied. There were regions, like the Oslo region had an agency where they tried to involve everyone. So all the municipalities around were formally members, which made it unworkable. So we were advised not to do something like that. So also we decided in the founding structure, we want to have region, city, universities, and all else would be partners with the memorandum of partnership, but not, founders, because we don't want to have 20 founders, each with some vote, and then they will never convene. So we also, because we now work on how the structure might look like, so we draw a lot of examples from especially the Oslo region, the Paris region, Vienna, but it's always different. South Moravia, in terms of the structure of the territory, is really more something like a small state, because it's not a typical metropolitan area and it's not a typical countryside region as we also have elsewhere. So this makes us a hard case.
I think there is a space for a last question. So if you would like to ask anything, just raise your hand. I will just check the chat if there is a question from our attendees that are offline, and there is not a question, so I think we can move on to the next topic. Thank you very much, Jiří, again, for your speech.
Thank you.
A lot of interesting information, and we are looking forward to what will be the result.
That's my election purpose.
He said he is also looking forward to the result, but without the microphone. Okay, so ladies, will you use the hand microphone, or would you like to have? I think this is the only one that we have here. So if you can share the microphone, and of course I will introduce you, because the audience doesn't know who you are. Because City as a Customer Zero is a vision of our next speakers. Customer Zero for solutions developed by local companies and research institutes. And how this is planned will be presented by two ladies that you already see. And they are Eva Holzová, Smart City Projects and Events Manager, and Romana Gaberlíková, Research Transfer and Talent Development Specialist from the city of Brno. So they are.
Thank you very much. We are here as the representatives of the Brno City Municipality. So you will hear today a lot of words like innovation or living lab or cooperation or stakeholders and stuff. But I also promise you that you will hear a lot of concrete examples of innovation within the city. We are happy that we can be here today and we can present to you Brno as the lab of the future, and that the city of Brno is a perfect city for a project like RICAIP. Here you can see our small team within the Brno City Municipality. You can see our perfect pictures, they are pretty new. And as you can see, I work as the research transfer and talent development specialist within the Cooperation and Development Department. And we are part of the Strategic Development and Cooperation Department, which sounds confusing even for us. So it's really okay if you don't understand. And my colleague will represent the other members of our team.
Okay, thank you, Romana. Good morning, everybody, again. Thank you, Jiří Nantl, for a great presentation, because some topics will resonate in our also. And my role, of course, is present myself, Eva Holcová, and I'm Smart City Projects and Events Manager. And also, I would like to present our Chief of Strategic Development and Cooperation Department, František Kubeš, who unfortunately can't come presently today, but I think he's online, so hello, František. And Chief of our Cooperation and Development Department, which is sub-department, Jakub Rybář. And actually I'm substituting him, so you probably will miss some of his sharp jokes, but we will do our best. And Romana will present the rest of our small team.
So as you can see, we have also a colleague which is focusing on urban innovation, on business cooperation and economic marketing and events. We are the officials of the municipality. We are not politicians. We are the bottom level, basically. So it will be different presentation from the one that Mr. Nantl presented here, but I think it's refreshing to see both sides of the job, because our goals with Mr. Nantl are the same. We cooperate on a lot of stuff, and we are here to represent you the view of the city. Well, our team from Cooperation and Development Department is working on the development of the city and growing its innovation potential. This is the words I was saying before, but we will explain it later. We are focusing on economic innovation, social innovation, and urban and environmental innovation. And during this presentation, we will tell you more about our job as creators of smart community, what we do for business support, what we are working on talent development, innovation in public administration, which is quite new, and Brno as the city of innovation, which means that we are doing a lot of workshop events and stuff like that. As you can see here, we have quite a budget on innovative projects from our budget of the city. Approximately it's 4 million euros per year. And we will present you some of the projects we are financing later.
Yeah, and maybe I like to again show you that what we are trying to do is to situate ourselves in the middle of the triangle. So it's not just the economic innovation, but we are trying to do some soft projects, urban and environmental innovation. So, well, it's kind of compromise between all the points of innovation, which is process. So it's not something you can reach and be there, but it's a way, a long-term way, but that's what we are trying.
Well, as Mr. Nantl was saying, the Regional Innovation Strategy was founded 20 years ago already. And since then, the city also is working on the innovative policy. The problem with the word smart city is that a lot of people just imagine, I don't know, solar benches or bins, smart lighting and stuff. And yeah, it's just a small part of being a smart city. We believe that smart city is made by people within it and by the cooperation between all the stakeholders. So we do all these soft cooperations, but the results are hard, and you can see them inside the city. So for start, maybe you may be surprised by this picture. Yeah, it's this can be also a smart city. This is actually elementary school or maybe kindergarten. I'm not sure, but this silver lamp or silver equipment is actually a scientific equipment, of course. And it's part of the project that we have as the city with Scientific Center RICAIP, which is the center from Czech University. And during this long-term cooperation, this was one small project when they, with this equipment, they measured air quality and other stuff in 5 selected elementary schools and 5 selected kindergartens. So now they provide us all the data, they measured there, and now we can decide if, what is the situation in these elementary schools, and now we can decide based on data. So we have a lot of cooperations like this with scientific centers, and the goal is to have all kinds of data and all kinds of results from the projects, so we can decide based on data. So it's really important for us.
Maybe I would like to add that even in this small area, as the Brno is, there are huge differences between elementary school and kindergartens. So really, some of them situated in the city center are highly polluted comparing to other neighborhoods. Yeah, again, this is the example of the project. Maybe some of you noticed it in the spring. This was shut down by the Technical Networks company of Brno, and we can see, and actually the shutdown put it down to 45%. So this is kind of huge number, and we can see that the light pollution is also a topic that, well, we have to care in the future. But surprisingly, more than a half is made by private, like flats and houses. So it's not something we can influence directly, but maybe some campaign or, well, some project can be developed.
Yeah, I wanted to say that this project was actually in cooperation with BOT, with Mr. Baxand, and this is really nice, a nice example of cooperation between the public sector with one of the city companies and with university. They just sat down, they had this idea, and they did it. It was possible because of the COVID restrictions, so yeah, everybody was sitting at home, so we could shut down, I think, 40,000 lamps, which is amazing. And now again we have the data and we know what we are in the situation, and now we can decide if we want to do this experiment again, or we can do some projects that will motivate the private sector to shut down the lighting. My favorite example. I really like it. I know it's controversial. Even when we were preparing this presentation, we had this discussion, because every time I show it to someone, it's either laugh or a question if we are crazy. But why is it here? What else shows Brno as the lab, for ideas, for new ideas? 4 years ago, we had a conference, and we signed up as the city a contract with this company, Hyperloop TT, and we had these discussions if it's possible to have this new kind of transport here in Brno. We were not crazy by then, of course. We were just had this idea that with this cooperation with this company and on this topic, we can have another activities with local universities or local firms, so they can be part of this movement, or they can work on this new innovative project. Although it didn't go well, but still, I think this topic is one of the most shared during, even now, there are still articles about Hyperloop in Brno, which is crazy. But it was amazing when the Brno was showed in different newspapers all around the world because of this. So although it didn't go well, we still had this image that we are the lab and we can be brave enough to have this conference, to set up the cooperation with such a firm. And at the right, you can see a picture where one of the students of BOT, she as her final thesis, she developed this station for Hyperloop. So maybe in 20 years we can use it.
Yeah, again, this is the great example of something we are dealing on daily basis, is that, well, only small part of the project is a real success, and some of them are really that end and, well, won't realize, and it's just the kind of exercise. But if you don't try, and like you don't have 9 dead projects and 1 successful, you don't move. So it's kind of frustration once you don't get what you want, but it's kind of the way we are dealing on daily basis. But we have also success stories. Yeah, this is success story. It's the first drone show in the Czech Republic. Who saw it in this summer? Yeah, some of you. So it was 8-minute show during the Ignis Brunensis festival, and drone show is supposed to be more sustainable and more ecologic, let's say. It was, I would say, successful event and part of the popularization of science in general. You can see also famous Territorial, and also our department is supporting Brno Planetarium and Observatory, as well as Vida Center, and this is also part of long-term plans of popularization of science in the whole area, which, well, would lead to more students on technical universities, more students and, well, more skilled workers in the future.
This was a crazy idea at the beginning also. And I think we are the first or second one who did this drone show. And we were also testing what people will say about something like that. And the reactions were mostly positive, so I think we will do it again. You can see 100 drones over there, but for example in China or Shanghai or elsewhere, there were thousands of them. So I don't know, maybe we will get there or we won't, but at least we tried.
Mm-hmm. This is a study we made last year with Urban DNA company, which is consultory agency from Britain and half French. It was a study to map the innovation situation in Brno. It involved interviews with all different stakeholders from Brno. Then we did a few workshops, internal and also with external participants. It was also part of the Urbis Smart City Fair. And, well, the aim was to map the situation and also to find the quick wins that we can make to reach, well, better innovation status. And on the next slide please, we can see how this was made. The British consultancy agency has this special framework, how they scan the innovation potential of the cities. So they have kind of 4 pillars: framework, conditions, network enablement, then innovation in action, and then sustaining value, which is basically measuring the feedback and the impact of the projects. This is often something which is forgotten to get the feedback and measure the feedback and impact. So around also you can see some projects that was identified as most strong in Brno. And we will talk about them later, so I won't go to much detail by now.
So by this study, we wanted to show that we cooperate with not only on the city level or national level, but also with European level. And it was really interesting just to sit with the makers of the study and tell them from all the levels of the municipality or other partners what we think is most innovative. And these 7 goals was set up as the golden mines of innovation in the city, and we will tell you about them more.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you, for example, they gave us the examples of some quick wins, what Brno can make to gain better innovation status. And as an example, I can say, for example, car-free day, or connected more with European Union projects, or more network, well, try to more network with European Union. So those was kind of examples.
So yeah, maybe it was something like Mr. Nantel was saying about the strategy of GIC and how they took 10% of the things they can do from the strategy and they did it. So now we are on the same path. As again, Mr. Nantel was saying, we are, yeah, it was a good presentation. But we also we are part of the regional innovation strategy. We were working on that with the South Moravian region and with JSC, and we are working on the strategic goal Brno region as the lab of the future, which is also the name of this presentation. So by our activities, not only the new ones, but also we are working on now, is creating a living lab environment for testing new solutions. We want to take on the role of the customer zero for solutions that are developed here by local universities or firms or businesses or research organizations. And we also want to define innovation demands or formulate the needs, which is something that all the stakeholders want from us. It's not easy because the city is a huge institution, and we also have these city companies. We have offices or municipalities of the parts of the city, which is 29 of them. They all have their mayors. So it's quite complicated, but we want to do that because it's something that the ecosystem wants, and it makes the life of the city easier, and it can faster do innovation in the city. The first example I wanted to show you is this student competition, which are nice drawings, amazing, but also it's one of the first innovative projects we did. It's more than 10 years now, and this is a student competition where 3 student teams and the teams are consisted from students from different faculties, different universities, and they are working on topics that the city set up. Every year we set up a topic. It can be something about a green field, how it will look like in the future. Or brownfield, you may know, because it's really close to BOT at Veveří. Or smart city district Špitálka, which we'll tell about you later. And the students are very innovative. If we want some crazy ideas, we go to them. So during these 10 years, we had nice ideas. We had very professional ideas like this or this. But also we had crazy ideas, but we like to work with them because it's really refreshing, and we like to say that it's ideas outside of our bubble because we speak the same language here at the municipality or with the region, but students, they are just like, why you don't do it like that? And we are like, oh, yeah, okay, good idea. So this is a really nice example. And you may know this, who use Brno ID. Oh, great. You may be surprised, but this came from Venice, from the student competition. They were working, I don't know, 6 years ago, on this idea that city can have its e-shop or its city identity, where the inhabitants can buy, for example, public transport tickets, or they can pay for a waste tax, or they can pay for residence parking. And we did that. Now we have it. Almost 220,000 people have it. And the number is growing really fast. And now we are working on new modules, as we call it. For example, you will buy a ticket for planetarium or to Vida Science Center or to, I don't know, public libraries and elsewhere. This is a job that will never end because the services the city is doing it's a long list of that.
By the way, I remember now that the model zoo I wrote in this year competition Smart Cities. So hopefully in few months we will see if the zoo model will gain some interest. And it was made in 1 week, and no, it was. It's kind of smart solution because in 1 week they made all the model where you can support animals in Brno Zoo and buy them food and like financial directly some animal.
So wish us luck. This is example with another cooperation with Scientific Center. This time is with Czech Globe, the logo you can see here. And this is the heat map. They flew all over the city, and now we have the data. So now we can decide where to, I don't know, put green roofs on our buildings, or where is the temperature higher. Again, it's the data, and now we have it, and we can decide what to do next, where to grow trees or where to build up a park, where the situation is good, where the situation is bad, and this is really important. And this is just one example, or the second example of the cooperation with scientific centers. Again, this is really nice because you can see a CITEC, because we have cooperation also with CITEC, and we are very happy about it. Here you can see Erik Glovatsky, which is a holder of prestigious ERC grant, and he came here because we supported CITEC by 28 million crowns, and we wanted to yeah, it's a lot of money. But we wanted to have excellent scientists here also. And this is also a test, because we didn't know if it will work. We didn't know if the scientists will come here, or is it enough money? It's not enough money? Was it worth it? And the project will last for another, I think, 4 years. And we have this first success, and we are very happy that he is here, and he built up his team here at CITEC BUT. And now we are looking for another junior research group leader. So wish us luck. So another will come here to Brno to do his scientific career. And here I also wanted to give you a teaser, because by the end of September, there are a closing of registration for Brno PhD Talent, which is another example of our program we are supporting. And it's for young PhD students, and we give them 300,000 crowns per year for start of the scientific career. So if you have some PhD students, or you are a PhD student, just look it up and register, and you can be one of the 25 of our PhD students, PhD talents. And as I can see, GIC over here is looking at me also. We also support GIC and its programs. For example, access to finance, or creative vouchers, or SME instrument, or many more you have heard of. And we also cooperate with Brno Regional Chamber of Commerce. And I especially wanted to stress access to finance, which is pretty new. And it's also a testing program, because nobody else in Czech Republic does a program like this. And it's for supporting the start of the business. And a lot of people, who is, one of them is here, they just have an idea, and they come usually from academic sector, and we help them to test their idea, so they can start a business and to be part of business ecosystem here.
Okay, this is part of my agenda project, and probably is something that people imagined when I say smart city. So those are projects which I try to maintain this year between city companies. You can say basically all of them listed down. And one example is that we are trying on smart road sign on a one-way street, namely Francouzska. And it's the situation is that once the garbage truck is passing, the whole street is stuck. So we are trying to make some smart sign, which showed that this is really expensive. So the calculation was about 1 million. And so if you imagine one road sign for 1 million, this is not exactly a smart solution. So it turned out that probably it will be part of the waste application. which is something, the budget is something like 30,000. So you can compare that, like, first solution is not always the best. The second project between the companies is public lights and adjusting the chromacity of the lights, because they can be, well, different colors have different impacts on animals, plants, and people. So we are trying to find out with Czech Globe and again Professor Baxant and Mendel University which color use in which daytime, nighttime, and like shape it with legislation also. So this is kind of enigma. Third project is machine learning, and it should be a subject on the high school. So we have 5 high schools, some from Brno and some from the region. We are trying to have this machine learning as a part of informatic or another subject. So we will see if we manage. And they already started in Prague, so we have good example. Third project is electric car chargers with Brno Heating Company. And the last is recuperation of the wastewater. And we are talking about area on Lužanky, the swimming pool, when, well, there is the warm water which nobody is using. So we are trying to make a recuperation and kind of more ecological solution. This is the huge project, so there are more companies participating, and hopefully it will be started in a few months.
And all of these projects are also cooperative with universities or the scientific center. For example, at the recuperation of wastewater, the ADMAS, which is over there, did the study what to do with that. So again, these are the examples of the cooperation between the stakeholders, which is really important in this project.
Yeah, and this is actually my objective. It's not just to make a solution, but to try to make a solution that we can replicate, and then trying to engage all the stakeholders from the city, just to communicate and to talk about the common topics in the cities. Well, nice project, a long-term project. It's Špitálka Smart District. We have 2 of our colleagues working on that. And this is part of ruggedized project, which is a Horizon project from European Union. And there are 3 cities, you can see lighthouse cities, Rotterdam, Umeå, and Glasgow, and 3 fellow cities, Brno, Parma, and Gdańsk, who are learning from those lighthouse cities. And again, the objective is smart district, so it's a complex complex project, and it's the first one in Czech Republic. So again, wish us luck.
And this is the only H2020 project which the city has. So as Mr. Menantla was saying, it's important that the municipality and the region is also active in this kind of projects, because here we learned a lot from these cities. We were there, or our team were there, and they told us what to do, what not to do, and it's really important to cooperate within the European area. The project will end at the end of next year, maybe. It's supposed to end now, but due to COVID, it will be later. But it doesn't mean that the Smart District Špitálka will end. No, it will be the beginning of the building of the smart district. Now we have the law firm. Now we have the project managers from the company, from professional project managers, and we start to do visible results at the smart district.
Yeah, and logically, it's a test bed for all kind of solution you can imagine, absolutely all. So it's a big playing ground. Well, some events, those are not all, and you can see that like small team of 6 people are doing a lot of projects. So just to name few, we are working on Expo module and consequently on the roadshow. And I can see here Tomáš from FabLab who is participating on this roadshow. We are working on days of electron microscopy, game access, and Urbis. Well, let's move on. I think time is short. Yeah, it's an invitation for Urbi Smart City Fair. It's a combination of fair and conference. This year it was hybrid due to the COVID, of course, and it will be probably the same hybrid next year, full of panel discussion, workshops, excursions, and possibility to network. The planned date is the beginning of the June 2020.
So how does it all work? I mentioned here stakeholders, regional innovation strategy, Brno region several times. So yeah, we believe that in cooperation with all the stakeholders, we can reach our goals, which are defined in here in South Regional Innovation Strategy and in our city strategy, Brno 2050. We also believe that you have to be determined to reach the goals, because it's not easy within the municipality, and every time you cooperate with someone, it takes a long time, but it's always about the people. So when you find the right people, it's always easier. It's really important to have political vision and will, and a stable budget, so you can build trust within the stakeholders or the partners. So one project will not end next year, or we can promise something that it will be a long-term project. It's not always easy. We can't say it for 100%, but we are really trying to have our projects for long term. Again, innovation ecosystem is the buzzword. Strong partnerships, long-term partnerships, and community. We are working on that for 20 years. Me 5 years, Eva here 2 years, and we are still at the beginning, I think. It's really, it's never ending, but we enjoy it a lot. And unified vision with the strong strategies, where everybody in the ecosystem knows what are the goals and what can they do, the small steps to reach the goals in the strategies.
Yeah. The future, I already mentioned it, but I also see plenty of possibilities by connecting more to European projects, to more networks. We are already part of Intelligent Cities Challenge. Almost every year we are participating in a competition, iCapital. We as a city are part of Eurocities, also in City Science Initiative. So those are examples of projects when basically we can learn, we can exchange, and we can gain also support and stay motivated for the future. And another international project, but functioning well in gaining and attracting talents to Brno is Brno Expat Center. This center is supporting foreigners coming to Brno and their families. And also we are planning some future projects, how to, again, gain more support for foreigners.
We are slowly finishing our presentation. We wanted to just tell you what we are working on now. We will launch a new website this year for local partners, and in future from partners from abroad in English also, so we can tell people what we do and how can they reach us with their new projects or activities or with new opportunities, because now we have the problem that the municipality is really slow in supporting some projects. It takes weeks or it takes months, and the partners are working in really different speed level. So part of our job is to communicate with the partners and tell them it's not that easy, but we really want to, just they give us some time. Yeah, okay. We are also building a community. It's a lot of meetings, a lot of workshops, strong cooperations with the leaders of the city, because for us as the employees of the municipality, it's important to reach out to the leaders and to accompany them when they go to the companies or to the universities. So the goal of the city is unified. We're also working on innovation policy on local level and on transparent processes, so everybody knows how to reach us, or what are the processes, or how they can get support from us. And I'm talking also to the project partners of RICAIP. We are looking for new opportunities from European level or project or partnerships as the city. So if you have any idea, just reach out to us. So yeah, you can just see the new website here. It's in Czech, but it will be also in English. You can see our email address, which goes to me and my colleagues you saw from at the beginning of the presentation. And then we will argue who will do it, who will contact you. So just to send a nice email. And here you can see the website. So we will tell you when it will be launched. And it's all. Thank you very much for your attention. And we are here for your questions now or later.
Thank you.
We have 10 minutes for discussion, so if you already have a question, just let us know. We will share the microphone, but I'm sure that we will manage to do that. Any question? There is one. I will maybe pass you a microphone. You already have yours, but to be sure.
Just a short question. You have mentioned there one logo of burying and cemetery. What's smart in this area? It was on one of your slides. Was down there a logo?
With Brno ID?
No. Further, I don't know. Cemetery and burying service. I don't know how is it in English, but if you go on, go further.
I'm not sure which one.
Here?
One more, even more. Here. Over there's pohřební a hřbitovní služby města Brna. So I'm curious.
Okay, I got it. No, it's well, not a smart solution yet, but no, those are part of city companies, which means that the companies are 100 owned by Brno. So those are group. But for example, with cemetery services, we haven't any project, for instance. So it's there just to complete the group. But I think it's actually the only one, and the Lesy města Brna. Those are two. We aren't any project for now.
But here you can see city cemetery. This is the reason why I was confused, because yeah, it's a bit funny, okay, dark humor. But we also have a module here in Brno ID where you can buy for your prepay for your slot, yeah, or you can pay here for flowers when you don't go to the cemetery very often. You can pay here for flowers or some decorations, and some employees of the company.
Somebody to take care about
Yeah. And it's a long-term service, but nobody knows about that. But we put it here at Brno ID, which was kind of weird, but why not? Because it's also a service from the city. So we have it here next to the residential parking. But okay, it's also a service.
It's linked to our smart project.
Yeah, but it's kind of smart. Because normally you would have to go to the company, I think, and personally and sign some paper. But now you can buy it here on the city eShop or city identity.
Okay, thank you. And there is another question.
Thank you. I've heard about an exhibition called Urbania. Is it under the city municipality? Can you tell us more about?
Sure. Good question, and that's something we forgot, and we can invite you. It will last till the end of this month. It's an exhibition, interactive exhibition. I can't explain in detail because it's kind of surprise and interactive exhibition for 8 visitants. 1 hour you have for visiting the Urbania itself, which is kind of concept how to build the cities, and then there is 1 hour discussion with this small group. And also I will be there. So as we are doing a lot of projects, so also we are guiding these Urbania exhibitions. So I will be there in the end of September. There is still some tickets, but it's running out quickly. So if you want, I really can recommend it.
Yeah, and it's true that we are part of the organizers, we as the department, and also with cooperation with CAM, Office of the Architect of the City. And the exhibition itself is actually borrowed from Prague, which is funny. but no one wants to tell that, but we actually borrowed it because it's not like focused on Brno. It's an exhibition about the planning of the city, any city. Actually, the city of
the concept how to build the cities in general and how it should be actually. So everything we told and what Jiří Nantl was saying is there as a explanation and game. Really nice, the exhibition.
So go to urbania.brno.cz and register
It's free.
until the 6th of October.
I can build my own city there.
Not really, but you can think about the concept how to do it.
Well, there was a
Basically,
question, I will just repeat it because the lady wasn't speaking
okay.
to microphone, if she can build her own city at the Urbania event.
You can actually try our job. So we want to show how hard it is, you know. So
Okay, maybe the last question, if any has? Yes, there is.
Thank you for your presentation. You mentioned that you really like to cooperate with students and students' projects, and you said that Brno ID is actually one of them. And I wanted to ask you if there are any more student projects that were actually implemented in life and just wasn't left on papers.
thank you for your question. Actually, this is the hardest part, of course. Here, because students, as I was mentioning, has all kinds of ideas, and our job after the end of the competition, which goes every year another topic. So at the end of June, we take from students their ideas, which are brochures or projects or ideas, and we try to implement them. It's not easy. It's really actually the hardest part of it. But next to the Brno ID, we implemented ideas from this smart city district Špitálka into the plans or into the discussions what to do next with the smart district, because this topic was 2 or 3 years ago already, so it was really at the beginning of the planning of the district. Here, Kadetka. Now it was brownfield. It was for drug dealers, basically a base, because it was just a building in a disastrous condition. And this year we managed to take down the building, and it will be a park there. So just part of the project, what students was imagining, it's taking part now. But it doesn't take weeks, it doesn't take months, it takes years to finish the ideas they have. Sometimes it's fast and sometimes it's not. So these are just a few examples.
So thank you very much. A round of applause for the ladies and their smart city projects. And last but not least, there's the final presentation of today. Well, sustainability, quality housing, efficient infrastructure, economic accessibility, various leisure time possibilities, and close contact with nature, and all in a very modern style. I think this is how we all imagine a good living, isn't it? And this dream comes true in the very new district that is being planned in Židlochovice, a city close to Brno. It offers innovations that help to achieve a carbon neutrality, significant savings in drinking water, and a reduction in individual transportation. This residential district that is called Chytré Líchy is the district of the future where promising technologies and solutions are tested. And our guide through Chytré Líchy for this moment is Jan Barta. It's the coordinator of Brno AI platform. So welcome here.
Thank you. Okay, good morning. I feel a bit nervous after hearing all the great presentation from region and from Brno. Židlochovice is small, it is. But first of all, I would like to ask you, you were not talking very much. So I'm curious, who are you? Are you from university? Who's from university or education sector? Okay, business, companies, more or less, public sector. And rest, okay. Well, thanks. And 2 more questions. What is smart city? What do you feel what smart city is for you? What does it mean? Is it technology or way of thinking, or What is it? Just feel free to talk without mic. Sorry for the online. Just talk. What is smart city for you? Okay.
Maybe repeat it. Or Tomáš has always much to say, so I'm not asking.
It's no wrong answer, I would say.
For me, it's like very accessible. Everything I need to deal with, for example, government or city structures, I can do it easily online. So
Okay.
for me, it's like easy life, I would say.
Okay, thanks.
I think it's with using technologies, but it doesn't necessarily need to be with using technologies. So easy life.
Okay, thanks. Who else?
Technologies and ideas used for best living in general for me.
Okay, thank you. Who else? Some ideas.
It's a different way of thinking, and also the technology is part of it, but it's not the goal. It's just the technology can help us to achieve the goals, but it cannot be the goal itself.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
So any other
Any
idea?
other? Okay, the rest of you. What is living lab? What do you expect from a living lab? Do you have any expectations, or do you have any ideas how should it work for you?
Living lab was mentioned many times today.
Yeah, but what is it actually?
Here,
There is
vision
huge
of what it
definition
means.
on Wiki and on European sites. But what does it mean for you, concretely for you?
Okay, so I'm actually expecting something like a place where you can put some, I don't know, prototypes of some technology and let people interact with it. And then get the data from that, how it works
Great,
on the real scenario.
Any other idea of what living lab could mean?
Yeah, and we probably will have a free Wi-Fi everywhere.
Okay, thanks. Someone else? Okay, now I have to start talking. Well, Žilochovice is really small city. Small city, it's close to Vienna for people abroad. Brno is, Žilochovice is here. There is no Brno, you see. But although it's small, it is some 3,800 inhabitants, but it works as a city. There is a school, big school for 900 students, secondary school as well, some factories, and there is no Hyperloop, but there is a train, a brand new train station in Czech Republic, the only one built after some 50 or 60 years. And there's a way of thinking of a city, at least from the city governors, from the city council. It's close to Brno. A lot of people are going to work to Brno. But I would like to talk about this small part of Žilochovice. It's small, but it has some advantages. Like Žilochovice is small, so some decisions are made easily. This area is small, but it can fail. If Špitálka fails, it's a problem. But if such a small area fails, okay, it's a pity, of course, but there are a lot of lessons learned. I hope it's not going to fail, but in case. There's a lot of stuff. We started with an idea, and now we choose some different approach, and we have a lot of lessons learned, a lot of fuck-ups, a lot of things that could be made better way, etc. In the very beginning, yeah, it's the north part of Žilochovice, this area, small one, and there is only residential buildings in the suburbs. Yeah, I mean, this is Žižkov, not the Prague one, but the Žilochovice one in Žižkov. And these are single-family houses and people having gardens, pools, fences, dogs, etc. And the first idea some 8 years ago was to build something, well, similar. Yeah, you know, this photo is from the neighborhood village, Holasice, which is a small garden house with huge fences, with I don't know how is meant, the trees, big trees that are in cemeteries. And we didn't want to make it that way. This project has failed. I don't know why, but it has failed. It was classic development. And we've met with the mayor of Židlochovice, with Jan Vitula, and started to think how to make it in some other way. We don't want some 200 more people in Židlochovice leaving early in the morning to Brno and returning back, just sleeping there. So what do we want to make there? And we have decided, we don't know, we just want to collect people together and think about it. These are approaches like smart mobility, participation, communication with the people. It would be nice if it has some architecture inside, some great design. But there are also other aspects like sustainability, not only from the environmental point of view, but also from the social point of view, and how to mix it together. So we started with the approach to put some people, the experts from various fields together, and started to think about what is our goal, what to achieve in this such a small area, which has limitations. You know, it's small, so you cannot do there everything. And it's in Czech. Sorry for the English speaking, but the final decision was to make. We want some district which will be for living. It's nonsense to make something else there. It's for living. Well, some 5 to 10% will be some services like I don't know, shop, kindergarten, etc. But we would like to be the district as sustainable as possible. It means CO2 neutral, water management, saving water, etc. But in the very beginning was talking with people how to make it so that the new people can integrate with the other people of Židlochovice. And how to make it to keep people there, not to force them to go to Brno or somewhere else to work, but stay in that area or in Židlochovice or nearby, not needing to leave every morning by car. So it was the whole approach, and there were several goals, limited goals to some technology, or not technology, but areas. In the field of energy, we wanted to make CO2 neutral, carbon zero district. It might be a plus energy district, but in general it means we have to reduce the energy consumption as much as possible. And the rest, we should produce on the field. There will be just photovoltaics. The windmills are too high, there is no wind. There is no possibility to make some biofuels. So it's gonna be just by photovoltaics. And all the fields, it's come back. We would need the smart city agency, smart region agency to be established 3 years ago. In that case, we have our work much easier. Yeah, now we are dealing with our concept of CO2 neutral district is limited by legislation, by regulation rules. Yeah, that's why it's pilot project with the Minister of Trade and Business. I don't know how is it in English. Ministerstvo průmyslu a obchodu. So we are trying a pilot project where to try to establish some community energy cooperation. And the same in water management. We want to save as much drink water as possible on one hand, and the other hand, coming out of the district, save some 50% of the wastewater. And it also has some limitation, as our officers can't even think about it, that we can use something else than the classical sewer system, right? The pipes where all the wastewater goes away. We don't want it. We want to make some local water cycle, and so we are dealing with this conservative way of thinking. I hope South Moravian region will help us in persuading all the officers to allow us to think about such a solution. It's a visualization, but the other aspect of cars, yeah, we would like to have this district for people, not for cars, but for people. And it was it was funny. As we started to talk about energy, water, it was everything okay. We mentioned cars, and well, it was a challenge. There are cows in India, there are cars in Czech Republic. Yeah? If you talk about not having a car standing by your house, but 100 meters far away, it's a problem. It's a big problem. If you tell people, okay, you are in a village city, Židlochovice city. You are in a city, but you need one car for sure, yeah, leaving for Brno, etc. But do you really need the second one or even the third one? Or you can just be fine with one car, and the second and third one you can share with each other, or you can borrow it somewhere. Is it really possible? So it was a huge, there are still huge discussions how to persuade people not having 2 or more cars. Yeah, the second car is just standing on the street for 99% of time, going once a week for a shopping or for something. But we are thinking, okay, let's try to help people not needing the second car, and now we are discussing with the car sharing company how to make in Židlochovice small city. Again, it's limiting. If it's Brno, it's Špitálka, it's much easier to persuade people not needing cars because of public transportation. But in the village of city of Židlochovice, it's difficult. And now we are thinking about how to help to establish this car sharing. So Honza Vitula, the mayor of Židlochovice, is starting to think about, okay, let's get rid of some cars on the municipality, on the city council, on the town hall, and start with the sharing on the town hall. And make the cars for other citizens of Židlochovice, yeah, for sharing. I hope it's gonna work. But generally, we want this area without cars. Yeah, you are of course allowed to come to your house, get off, take out your, I don't know, grandma or shopping, etc. But the cars should park somewhere else. And final question, what is smart? It's for us, it's approach. For us, it means, okay, let's think about what people really need, and the technology is just mean how to achieve these goals. If it goes without technology, okay, let's don't use technology. Let's make it as simple as possible. This KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. But of course, we are okay. I'll come to it later. Now we are in the phase that we are finishing the land use study. We have been through some architectural competition. And the next year is for design of everything, buildings, streets, etc. But also for the solutions, for the energy solution. How will it work? There are no experiences from Czech Republic and few from abroad. So how the community energy can operate, who will be the operator of it, if EGD or city of Židlochovice or someone totally different. So that's what we are going to design next year, and hopefully since 2023 we are going to begin the construction itself. I really hope it's gonna be that fast. This is the urban design, and just forget all the trees and all the green. Yeah, it will be there in 20 years maybe. But there is one parking place. There is second parking place, and the cars won't be allowed to park over there. It's for people. We don't want the cars, the machines made of metal to block the place, to heat the place, to make the visual noise. It should be clean. And as you see, it's much more dense than the previous area. As we think, okay, it's not sustainable to consume as much land as you wish for living. If you build it as dense as possible. There is area over there. It's planned to be some city park or city forest or something like that, so the people can live outside. But if you build it dense. Don't waste the land just for some bricks and beton and concrete. It makes also complications. I said we would like to. We are communicating with the people from this area. They are used to go to this place with their dogs and jogging, etc. And now there will be something else. There won't be a free area any longer. So we have to communicate with them. How is it with traffic? It's much more dense, so they are expecting there will be much more cars. We are trying to limit the cars. We are trying to make some community center. It's here, also for people living here. There will be a lake, a pond, or whatever, water, so that people can use the infrastructure which is going to be in the new area, in the new district. And it's difficult to talk with people that don't want to have anything in their neighborhoods. So it's really a challenge to talk with this, let's say 100 inhabitants from here that don't want to do anything there. So, and now, what's the living club in the case of Židlochovice? Again, Židlochovice is a small city, so it's much easier. It's open thanks to this project and also other projects that are developing. I have mentioned the railway station, but there is waste management running 10 or 15 years, and it was very innovative at the beginning. So Židlochovice, it's really open to test approaches, test technologies, etc. It has to be meaningful, either for the city of Židlochovice or for the developer. It's very easy, just come and ask. So far we have no rules who can test anything. Yeah? It's open, and if you come and ask, we will talk about it and find a solution, or not. Yeah? But it's simple. Just it shouldn't harm anyone or be somehow threatening to the life of the inhabitants or infrastructure, etc. Yeah, but there are no other rules on the other way. And or do we have some opportunities? in Chytré Líchy mainly. There is energy management. We want to have a smart grid there, and everything connected to smart grid. It's a very, very broad area. But from the field of AI, it's predictive maintenance or real-time operation of the grid. There will be a lot of decentralized energy sources, a lot of decentralized energy consumptions. So, how to deal with it? How to deal with the possibility to trade with flexibility. It means I have a battery, and if the outer network is low of energy, I can sell some electricity to the network. Or otherwise, there's a peak. There is a huge wind in Germany and a lot of electricity, so I can charge our battery and be paid for it. Yeah, I'm helping the grid to reduce the peak, for example. All the people there, or all the building there will act as a prosumer. It means consumer and production in the same time. But it's not limited only to the Líchy. As I said, the area is too small to make something else than living there. So it's mainly residential. It means people won't be there the whole time the electricity is produced from the photovoltaics. So we have to think about where to consume this electricity. And I've mentioned there is a school and factory and railway station and city town hall in Žilchovice, everything. So we are dealing with the problem how to consume the energy which is produced in Líchy some 1 kilometer away in a school, which is easy technically. There are wires, but it's impossible in the current regulation. Then we are even trying to think about peer-to-peer energy trading. So one house is producing photovoltaics and sell it directly to someone else without selling into the operator like EGD and buying back. So these are challenges and these are opportunities. How to make it. So if you have solutions that are prepared for smart grid or smart water metering, or how to share bikes, cars, tools, etc. It's open. And it's open to other ideas. 1 year ago, we have started with a company, Vision Craft, to think about, they wanted to test their camera system, optical recognition of cars and parking spaces, etc. So we have said, okay, let's try it. We have some cameras, you can use our data, or you can install your cameras and try our solution. And if it's working on a small scale, then you can upscale it and go to the bigger solution. So as I said, it's small, but it has some advantages. A lot of disadvantages, of course, but also a lot of advantages. And it's all I wanted to say, maybe. Okay, as I said, feel free to come and ask if you have some solution to test or to pilot or anything. If you have any idea, Žilchovice is open to cooperate. So thanks for your attention. I hope there will be some questions. And if not, I will ask, so feel free to ask it.
Thank you very much, Honza. And we are ready for questions. Well, Honza is ready for questions, and there's already one.
Yeah, thank you for a nice presentation. And we are here wondering, is there any estimation of prices per meter square, or I know it's too soon, but well, any guess?
Like
there is
not that we just want to buy a house there, but aren't you afraid that it will be only for rich people, or did you have discussions about this topic?
Yeah, we have discussions about this topic. One important thing is 1/3 of the land is owned by the city, and 2/3 are owned by the business developer, normally. But it's the social innovation in the very beginning. We have thinking about who will live there, and that's the answer. We don't want to have only rich people there, and that's why the city wants to have some social living, social houses there. They want to have some houses for teachers and doctors who wants to live in Žirochovice, to provide them with some starters. Everything looks like single-family houses, but these won't be just single-family houses. These should be flats for either buying or renting. So it should be a mix. We don't want to have there only rich people, which will result in a lot of cars, for example, a lack of communication, for example. But we want to have the mixture of inhabitants, like older people, like starting families, young families, people from Žirochovice. So I won't answer your question for sure, or the price, but there will be some affordable housing for a certain group of people. So it's not gonna be some monoblock of rich people. I hope so. Yeah. It can fail every time, but I hope so.
And how will you choose who will live there? Will there be any competition, or I don't know, some process of choosing? Because I guess there might be a lot of volunteers that would like to move there.
I have no idea yet. We don't know. This is just a sketch. We don't know. It's going to be changed. There won't be such a huge density of these houses, for example, as people from these houses are against having such a lot of people living there and looking to their gardens, etc. So the design it's design and it will change. So we are not sure what's the how many flats are there for renting, for selling, how many single-family houses. It's in the development. We will know this by the end of this year, I hope, and by the time it will be also clear how many flats and what kind of flats will be owned by the city, and they will have some rules, and the rest will be owned by the developer. And even the developer stated that they want to have some flats for renting, not only selling, which is a good sign for us that they are not doing it just for quick return of money, but they want to stay in the district longer.
Do you have an international partner, or let's say a concrete inspiration from abroad for this, let's say, project?
We have funding from Germany, from Deutsche Bundesstiftung Umwelt. I don't know how is it in English, sorry. But it's a German foundation for environment, maybe. And also from South Moravian region. Thanks for that. This too has supported financially the development of the project. And we've tried to find such a district in Czech Republic without success, abroad with partly success, but we haven't found such a small area. We have found a great example in Freiburg in Germany, which was great as I was speaking about the cars. 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, when I mentioned the car-free zone, so I was taken like a nerd. It's not gonna work. It's nonsense, etc. Then 1 year ago, we were on the excursion and the trip to Freiburg, and there are 4 city districts free of cars. Yeah, and one of them is from 1990s, so well 30 years old. But this trip has caused that the mayor, Honza Vitula, saw how could it look like, a street without cars, with people. And from the at the beginning, he was against having something like car-free zone. It was unthinkable. But this Freiburg, this Vauban district, has changed his mind. Car-free zone is okay, and now even the car sharing is okay, and now even the car sharing for the city town is okay. And now he's even thinking about selling his own Superb. And you use a shared car. So it's a huge shift, and it's great. He don't want to tell people, okay, use car sharing, and I'm having my own cars, and I'm not getting rid of it. No, he wants to persuade people, okay, I'm doing it, try it. And there are also examples, but nothing is complex. There are examples from energy, a lot of energy examples from Germany and Austria, some examples with water management, but nothing was connected. Sorry, I'm talking too much, excuse me.
No, it's okay. I want to let you to talk if you want. But I had a question. So basically the challenge there is kind of as well that you need the people who already did this mindset shift, who will move there, right? Because otherwise, the problem of the Czech the cars, is that people, my first idea was, okay, I will park one car there and second next to the houses of the old inhabitants there. And they will be super unhappy, right? So like, how to approach this, that actually you need to even find there people who are ready for this mind shift. Yeah,
you're right. In the current situation, you can sell everything. Yeah, there's a lack of houses, lack of flats. You can sell everything. So this area, I will put there. This area is really for people that are familiar with this way of thinking. And it's not only car sharing, but it's also about like the water management, like living together. Yeah, if you want to have some shared spaces like co-work or something flexible, it can be kindergarten or cafe or whatever. So this is district for people who wants to think in some sustainable way, I would say. So it's not for everyone, and I hope the people that want to have 3 cars won't be going there, as they don't have a place to park there. Yeah. But of course, it's gonna be in 2 years maybe, hopefully. So I have no idea how the market evolves. Who knows? Yeah.
Just a comment on the car issue, which is a bit ideological, but also very practical. We have to, I agree with Honza, this is for like-minded people. So people will buy if they think they can do with this lifestyling without several cars, but we have to be aware that in many cases, in many parts of the region, the car is the only reasonable option if you want to get anywhere in a reasonable time. So, and that's a very big problem, because as I mentioned, we are already paying very huge amounts of money in public subsidies for public transport, and still it's very expensive to maybe add a rail stop that a rail stops somewhere where it doesn't stop, and it goes to millions per single rail stop. So how to organize this, not very easy. One of these solutions, which I think is to create, and that goes beyond smart and digitization and this, but to create conditions in cities and towns like Židlochovice that people can start companies there. So creating co-working spaces and areas where people can start their companies so that they don't need to go to Brno for everything. That's one of these solutions. Some towns, we have a project like that in Kyiv. Břeclav is thinking about that. I was talking to Tišnov, that because they have very heavy traffic to Brno. And many of the people, they operate their own companies, but there's lack of office space in the town itself. So that's part of the solution, to create a local economy. So that's a bit beside the issue of smart district, but I think it's very important to think about local development and conditions that people can really work in the place.
Thanks a lot. I would say it's the most important to keep, not to limit people not having car, but to motivate people not need to, motivate people not to have a car. Yeah, but I would say we are not saying, okay, it's completely car free. Yeah, we are saying, okay, each family or each flat needs one car. Yeah, it's a suburb. You cannot deal with the car effectively. Some of the people, but do you really need the second one or third one? Yeah, and we are aiming at the additional cars in the families. And but it's a way of thinking, of course.
I have a small question regarding water management. There was a slide about it, and there were 3 types of water: drinking water, gray water, I think, and black water. Can you tell a difference between them, please?
Well, do you understand Czech? Do you understand? Okay. So this is drinking water. You know what drinking water is. It comes from the pipes and you can drink it. Or flush your toilet with it. It's nonsense. There is užitková voda. Wow. Water for use, I don't know the English term for it, I'm sorry. But it's a water you don't drink, but you can use this water for watering the plants, for flushing the toilets. And you cannot mix these 2 waters together. But you can use it separately. And in that case, normally you flush your toilet with drinking water. And it makes 50–60% of your water consumption. And why do you flush with drinking water? Yeah, do you drink from a toilet? I hope not. But normally it's not happening. And you don't need that water. You can save that water. You don't need that water. And again, what's going out of the house? This is some wastewater or dirty water from your personal hygiene. I mean, from bath, from the sink. Thanks. And it's just lightly polluted water, yeah, like soap and shampoo or something like that, which shouldn't be dangerous. I suppose not very many people will pour, I don't know, benzene or gasoline into the bathtub. So it's lightly polluted, and this is lehká šedá voda, light gray water. Really, English terminology, I don't know. And there is a third type of water from the rainwater. Normally, in the cities, the rainwater is also captured in the pipes and goes somewhere else. We want these 2 waters, like the rainwater and lightly polluted water to stay in this region. Yeah, we can filter it with some biological filters and let it to the underground water. And then remains the rest of the wastewater, like water going from the toilet, going from the washing machine, and from laundry. Yeah, and it's expected to be more polluted, even with chemicals maybe, and with solid stuff. And it's going to be to be cleaned in the central facility at the end of Židlichovice. But if we take this rainwater and the lightly polluted water, we can save half of the wastewater going out. And again, 2 days ago, I have talked with a company running this sewer system, and they were very unhappy with the solution because you save 50% of drinking water. It means you pay only half to that company for drinking water. You save 50% of the wastewater. Again, you pay only half to the company for taking care of that wastewater. And it's a problem. And in this field, I hope that South Moravian region will help us.
I don't know anything about this issue.
Yeah, you will. I don't mean you personally, but I mean general.
Okay, so our time is up. So thank you very much, Honza, for presenting the district of the future in Židlichovice.
Thank you.
And I think it deserves applause. Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you now know more about what smart city, smart region, and smart district might look like and what it means here in South Moravia. So let's keep our fingers crossed for all these projects to really be successful and to bring a true transformation into quality of lives of all of us, of all citizens. Well, I hope you have enjoyed all the presentations. If you would like to come back to any of them, there will be a record of the whole day, of the whole morning. So go to the YouTube channel of CETEC, where you can find the record, or you can find it also on the RICAIP project website. Feel free to share it with anyone who might be interested. So feel free to do that. Before we finish, I would like to invite you for the next seminar. Save a date for the 13th of October, and the topic will be Women in Tech. We have 3 astonishing ladies that confirmed to be the speakers, and they are Eliška Handlířová. She will talk about gender in scientific environment. Kateřina Kalačová, not Salačová, I'm sorry, will discuss education of women in technical fields and their support on labor market. And Kateřina Kozinová will focus on women in corporate top management. So I think it sounds really interesting. And I hope we will meet here again in 4 weeks. So thank you very much for coming, and see you next time, and have a nice day.